we were pretty good from firing from the hip. We didn't, we've never had a good analytics platform. We say that we're data informed, not data driven, and that's actually a bit of a stretch. We're barely data informed because we follow our gut a lot. The part that helps with that a lot is we talk to our community quite a bit. I'll talk about that more in depth in there. But in terms of getting the company where we are, being bootstrapped, it really was finding people with buy-in. And that's actually literally and figuratively at this point with the deferred comp. But people that were just extremely passionate about what they were doing. Honestly, if you showed up to this meeting tonight, you were probably one of those people that are extremely passionate about what you're doing. So finding more people like you, that was just critical for us. And we weren't going to do it, and it wasn't going to work if everyone wasn't all in. That was a lot easier to find remote because people all over the world. We had our first 5 employees, they were all remote, but one was in the UK, one was in Greece. We had a guy in LA and a guy in, Mike was somewhere back east, a long time ago, a lifetime ago. So they're kind of just all over the place, but we were able to find these people that specifically had the passion and drive that matched ours and fit well with our kind of style of doing things. And so that was just absolutely critical. Of all the decisions we make, hiring is the most important. And it's not just about salary, it's about passion, drive, it's about culture. And that was a little bit harder to identify remote. I don't think I keep pointing to you, Mike, but you were the first person that we would hire like this. I don't think I ever actually saw Mike until he showed up out here. And that was, I don't know, a year and a half after you got hired. It was a long time. But you could just tell by the way he talked and the way he was engaged. And, it's those 3 a.m. emails from Mike, which is actually like 6 a.m. his time. And he's like, okay, I finally just got this fixed. I'm going to crash for a few hours and I'll be able to do this. It's just that desire to want to be the best that you can be was more important than anything else that we did in those early days and even now today. Look at the things that I started. Company culture is something that we have tried to stick to very hard. You'll notice that the office has a ton of board games and card games. We have thousands and thousands of dollars of Magic cards that we have burned through in the last, honestly, probably month or two. We spend a lot of time and money doing fun things for our employees. It's almost once a month now. We rent out a theater and take all of our employees and all their friends and family to go see something. We saw Iron Man. We're seeing Superman in a couple days. We go kart racing. We go paintball, which actually starts some fights. That's but a lot of fun. But we try to really promote a good, strong sense of camaraderie. It's this things that we want in our games. We try to promote in the office. So one of the things that I talk about a lot makes our games different is that we promote cooperation instead of competition. There's still lots of competition in our game, but our philosophy is that I'm much more willing to spend $5 to help out a friend than to kill a random stranger. And that has what we kind of based a lot of our features, a lot of our games, and the core mechanics behind those around that philosophy. And so we really try to promote that within the company too, just kind of helping people out. We're all in this together. I mean, we have a database administrator that goes around and waters the plants, and we have one of our community managers that I don't know why he likes doing dishes, and just like all these things that have to get done. It's actually Brittany that does like everything, and she's actually responsible for all of this too. So thank you, Brittany. But everybody kind of has to pick up the slack and get all of this stuff done. And we're looking for people that fit into that just really want to be part of this. I don't want to say at any cost, but it's important to them, and they're willing to make sacrifices, outside of this to make it work. One of the other things that is hard is work-life balance. That's something that we promote a lot here, and it's honestly a lot easier said than it is done. I have 4 kids at home. I have 4 boys, and my wife is now pregnant with our 5th child, which is a little girl. So my life is kind of nuts outside of this, and it is very nuts inside of this. So work-life balance is very, very important. I try to we try to push that as much as we can here. Supporting people when they want to take vacations. Asking people to take vacations if they haven't taken time off a lot. Making sure that we're not working late. I mean, everyone was pretty much done working by 5 or 6 at night. That's pretty typical on a Friday, if not sometimes 2 or 3, depending on what we're doing. And just making sure that people aren't burning themselves out. In the early days, it was a lot of 100-hour weeks. There was a lot of sacrifice that had to be done to get stuff done. Honestly, it was years of 100-hour weeks. And that sucks. And but it was just stuff that had to get done at the end of the day. But knowing what I know now, I would have made different choices. I don't regret the choices that I made, but there's probably a more efficient way to do that. So that's something that we really try to push for everyone else here. Dave and I aren't too great about that. Actually, most of our team needs to work on it too. They try to work a little bit too hard. But that has been kind of one of the important things since day one, is really putting family first. Someone needs time off for anything, we give it to them. Our policy for vacations is that we don't really have a policy. It's just, it actually says in the employee handbook you can take off what time you need. And as long as you gotta get it approved by manager, but we've never declined any requests for time off ever. We had a new employee that started, and he was getting married a couple months later and needed a few weeks off, and we gave it to him. He took some time off later for other stuff, and that was fine. It wasn't just like he was being lazy and wanted to go, play the new Final Fantasy game for 3 weeks. So we're able to be flexible with that kind of stuff because we find people that don't take advantage of it. It actually kind of goes along with the culture stuff. We have downstairs, there's 5 offices in the back, 5 offices in the front. The 5 offices in the back are all gaming rooms. They all have Xboxes, tons of games, big screen TVs, all kinds of fun stuff. And whenever new people come in here, we show them stuff like, how does anybody get your work done? There's so much fun stuff to do. And you never have to police that because everyone's responsible with their time. And so we try to really give people these opportunities to be empowered and make their own decisions. And it generally works out pretty well. If it doesn't, that's not where they're taking advantage of things. It's other places and their work isn't getting done. What else? David, why don't you talk, so I can drink my water for a minute, about some of the technical challenges and growth that we've had?
Sure. So, hello, I'm David Leese. I run the technical team, and
why don't you sit over here because we're actually recording this, I forgot.
Oh, sorry, I'll move over here.
Yeah.
So I was the first in-house full-time employee. I had left a career of about a decade of web development, leading a tech team doing surprisingly very similar things to what we do here, technically speaking. Just kind of took a chance and spoke with Rob and a couple of the other founding partners just about what they were doing and why. And took the scary leap of leaving a very secure job and trying something like this. Just from a straight tech perspective, the biggest challenges are the agility that Rob was referring to. We are a very agile company and have focused on that a lot of the time, but that is the worst when you're a technical person, because that means things change all the flipping time. And that means that things that you're planning out months in advance and trying to keep schedules and trying to keep, the most efficient time schedule for your people as possible, that's not possible because things change a week before things are supposed to go out the door. So that equals, at the very beginning, we just didn't sleep and we just stayed up all night and tried to figure things out. But as time went on, that just changed the way that we had to focus our group efforts and how we approach problems from a technical perspective. The downside is that there are a lot of things that are in the game now that we are dealing with that were designed in a way that we never imagined they would be used in the way they're used now. That makes sense? Kind of. Either way, so we end up with issues that when the product was designed, it was great for what it was meant to do. But now we want to use it, twist it, and use it for something else, and that whole infrastructure just takes a dump. So that means that on top of whatever else we're doing for that week, we end up having to go back and rewrite, fix, and all that kind of stuff. Which equals, obviously a lot of unscheduled time and things from an engineering standpoint that you cannot plan for. Also to kind of jump on some of your points there as well. For the first 2 years-ish, we put everything back in. So every penny we made, we dumped it right back into the business. And that, I would imagine, if we were doing this over again, that's the hardest part, especially for me. I am not as much of a risk taker as Rob is, so it hurts me on the inside sometimes, the way we do things. But that is the absolute truth. Every cent we made, especially from a leadership group, we took it all and just threw it right back into the company. And it worked out in the long run, knock on wood, so far, you know, but in terms of how it was that first couple of years, it was sketchy, and there was a couple of months where it was close, you know, and had we not done that, I don't know if that would have gone down that way. So it's been a, as Rob said, you know, there's some decisions you look back on and you say, well, I don't know if I would do that the same again. But we probably wouldn't be in the situation we're in now had we not made those decisions that way. And that goes from a technical perspective all the way down to a leadership perspective. So I think that holds true with all that stuff. You have enough water?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, I mean, and actually I do want to touch on that one more time. I can't underscore enough how important being aggressive is. David's a great balance for me because he's very conservative. I call it other things, but we'll call it conservative. But it has helped us get to where we are today. It was very scary. I don't think most people know this, even people that work here, but there was a couple months, even a couple years ago, that we weren't going to make payroll, and like my mom bailed us out 1 month, and because we were just so close, and Facebook was slow on payments and things like that. I mean, we were that close for a while. It was really scary. I mean, we were 20 employees or something at that point. But it helped us because we were spending on advertising. We were doing everything we possibly could to make this work. I'd say a lot. It's amazing what you can accomplish through sheer force of will, and that is just what we did, because it just wasn't going to fail. No matter what we did, there was no possible way we were going to fail. It was going to, if we didn't need to sleep, then we weren't going to sleep. That's what it takes to get stuff done. So it was it's kind of nuts. Luckily, it's not that nuts anymore. It's not a different way, but it's all part of the fun. Day to day of a CEO. It's funny. I actually get asked that a lot, and I don't have a good answer. Because it changes so frequently. I've actually gone through a couple stages of like this, I don't know, it's not depression, that's way too dramatic, but like this point where like I used to say, hey, I make video games, and that was really cool. I like telling people I made video games. And then I realized a couple years ago, I don't make video games anymore. It is like, I run a video game company. And that was kind of sad to kind of go through that I wasn't like hands-on before. Dawn was just, I was the only design person on that game, and I still have pictures of the whiteboards that I drew at home and all that different stuff, and it was just, that was amazing. It was such a great feeling to do that. And when you can't touch things that way and create things that way, and it's a lot like having a child, when you can't just bring that thing into the world and have people, well, they tear it apart because they're mean, it's the internet, but also some people actually appreciate that and enjoy it and see it grow. It's hard to kind of give that up. Even more recently, I've kind of realized that the stuff that I do even less now has less to do with video game company than just a company in general. We're at, I don't know, 50 some odd people now. It seems like it changes every day. I think we're in mid-50s somewhere. So we're dealing with stuff that we didn't have to deal with before. It is a lot more of just management in general than actually video game management. But that's actually been part of my work-life balance. It's also involving fun in there. So I try to actually set aside time, sit down with the design team, go draw on one of our whiteboard walls and come up with different fun stuff. Kind of get back to the things that I really, really enjoy about this. I love what I do, but it's different. It's changed over time. That's okay. So what I actually do now is I spend a good chunk of my time in meetings. That's not fun or exciting or anything, but it's very important because we're at the point that we have 5 games in market. We update all of our games every single week. So we are doing 5 brand new versions of a game every single week without fail. We do it during Christmas, we do it during Thanksgiving, where it's a little more efficient with our time, but we do them every single week. And then we have a new game that's in production right now too. So there's a lot of balls in the air right now that we are juggling as a company. So I have to make sure that we're kind of on task with all those things, because obviously that's not something that I can personally manage. It's just not possible. We tried that for a long time and failed. and I was a big bottleneck for us for a while, and it's been really hard to give that up. But that's my own personal thought. So I spent a lot of time